Hello and welcome back to Cultist Simulator with me, Barden. Right, so we're going to stream for probably about 3-ish hours. I am going to have a short break somewhere in the middle just to make myself a fresh cup of tea. Before we start, so last week when we tried to stream on Monday we had a lot of technical issues. Then when I streamed again on Wednesday, it was a bit better, but still a little bit, a few problems here and there. So what I've done since then is I've updated some drivers and I've done a lot of tests to make sure that everything was okay. And then each of the tests that I did didn't have any skip frames at all. So I'm hoping that the issue is now solved. But I will be keeping an eye on it over at least the first kind of hour or so. And if we have no issues then, I'm just going to assume that everything is okay after that. But yeah, let's get back to things. So I need to kind of refresh myself from where we are with this one, because I was recording the priest, our Father Ted run earlier today. So these guys, we have 3 disciples and the rest are believers. Okay, so and we set ourselves up. Our cult is Unflinching Order, and a cult society dedicated to the fire that changes and remakes. Okay. So, can we should be able to promote some of the other guys, right? Let's see. So what are we missing? Property aspect of the cult to at least 7th intensity. So we have 6th. Okay. So we need to get up a bit higher with that. That's okay. So something that I need to check is which one we can subvert with that, right? So we go there. Because if we can get it up one more, then we can get lots of people up to a higher level that we're going to need anyway. Okay, so let me start arranging things. Where are we here? Oh, there we go. Okay, so Lantern becomes Forge. Okay, so let's arrange things. Okay, so Forge can subvert Lantern. So let's move you there. Let's move our Lantern up there. And then Lantern can is that right? Lantern becomes Forge. Forge becomes Edge. Edge becomes Winter. So Winter needs to come up here. Okay, then Winter becomes Heart. So Heart can just needs to move a little bit. Oh, sorry, we punted you out of the way, buddy. Okay, Heart becomes Grail. Grail becomes Moth. Then Moth would become Lantern. Okay. So we need to combine those two, subvert it into this, and then we're okay. Right, so let's move things on then. You kind of know what we're doing now. Okay. We have 1 dread there. We're going to go to the club. Pay our cash. Start that. Make sure this doesn't get out of hand, because there is another dread up there as well that we need to worry about. We have tentative evidence hanging about too. Okay, so we're going to grab a furtive truth just for now. Add that to what we have already. Many of the dead enter the mansions through the white door. They wander its corridors in silence until they are lost. Some embrace each other, some devour each other, some force their way into the dreams of the living. A few record their memories on the man's stone where it is soft. They scratch it with their nails, you see. Then last night I read one of those memories. Okay. So we've got that. And this must be a trick. One cannot remove garments so softly that the bones beneath the skin are visible. Bone pink as peach flesh, organs nestled like grapes. The light dims. Gutter. Go out, and the stage's red star with them. All our lips are dry. So no contentment out of that, which is not good, because it means you're going to... Oh, you're not going to go to 2, because the other one left. So that was kind of lucky. Let's grab those. Excuse me. Pop our reason back in there as well. Okay, grab those. So we got some erudition. So was the erudition for combining you, perhaps? Yeah, might have been. So let's do that. Maybe past me had the same kind of thoughts. Actually was preparing us for it. Or that erudition was for something completely different. But hey ho, if that's the case, kind of unlucky then for that erudition, right? Or lucky, since it gets to be bumped up to a different level. Okay, now my own heart pumps more strongly today. Okay, so you can go over there. You can pop over there as well. Now we're going to go here, which means you've got to provide some health. So we'll do that now and run it on. Okay, so we've got fascination in there, got dread in there. Let's just start working on getting rid of at least one of them. Let's head on back to the club. Surely this time things will be better, right? The drinks, the songs, the lights, the arching walls, the smoke blue haze, the press and sway of clothed and unclothed flesh. Doesn't sound like anything bad's going to happen. I purchased pleasure. I reel home in the ungodly hours and collapse into bed. Okay, he's on the hunt. We have nothing for him to find. Let's pop that erudition into there. Okay, now what else do we have? Duel of Despair prowls elsewhere. Okay, good. So you're taken care of. You're going to be taken care of as well. Work is done, so we can get a start again. We're beginning to build our funds up as well, which is nice. Going to be in a good position when we start going on expeditions. Okay, now let's go for this one. It's got some erudition. In last night's dream, I was in the lodge of the Sage Knight, behind a white door. It is difficult to remember exactly how I came there, and the mistress of the place, the woman with the dark glasses, was nodding as if I'd asked her a difficult question. Of course I hadn't. I lost my speech when I passed the white door. "How is it that I can speak?" she said to me. "I didn't come here through the white door, not proud of what I did to come here. So let me tell you about something else." Okay, and then we can initiate going back there, start, and then, yeah, there we go. Might do that. How long do I have left on this anyway? We have just under 6 minutes. Okay. So I'm going to start searching these places out. Let's get some locations stacked up for us to go and check out. Should put you over. Oops, not that. You. There you go. You can go over there. Okay, so some restlessness coming from this going in there, which obviously will decay into dread. Here's the calm, the sun is steady, the glory recedes. I'm saying if that means anything. So grab that. And pop you up here. Right, so we will grab you again. We read that recently, so we'll wait to read it again. Maybe the next time we get it. The Forge of Days waits in my dreams. If I learn the Forge's lore and I dream of this temptation, I can advance my purpose. The need gnaws at me. Okay, so let's pop that up there. I'm safe for now. My adversary has not enough evidence to bring a case against me. They found no new clues. And we don't intend to give them any new clues either. Right, so back into the Mantis. Let's get going there. Run it on. I am always the last to leave, even after the Elder Glover. I've increased my mastery of the glorious lore, which we call by its aspect lantern. Okay, so now you're there. Okay, so for this one we need erudition. So we have erudition here, which has long enough left. Okay, so none. Okay, so I'm hoping these are the right way around. We'll see in a second, I guess. Which will subvert which. If we end up with more lantern lore, it's going to be a bit annoying, I'll tell you that. Forgotten Mithrium. Okay. Well, maybe we shall revive it and get some memories going of it. Oops, didn't mean to move you, sorry buddy. Okay, now let's put that in there and find somewhere else. So we're basically looking for all of the lower level places that we can go. It's going to be very helpful for us in gathering more lore and maybe getting the odd item or two that will be useful later on as well. But the main thing at this stage is getting ourselves, like advancing our cult in terms of getting everyone up to higher levels, and that requires more lore. Okay, let's go there. We've got some fascination. Last night in the billowing blue of the lodge of the Sage Knight, I sat on velvet cushions and watched two dead contend with shining swords. They came with the place, said the woman who rules her now, the one who once called herself Galmier. I was not the Sage Knight, if that's what you're wondering. He went higher in the Mantis long before I came here. My attention has drifted. The swords sparkle like falling water. The dead move like dancers. Okay, collect that. So we've got some fascination that may or may not be may or may not be or have to be dealt with. Right, so we put you there. We're going to go to the club again. Oh, we can't because we have to wait for that to finish. Okay. So we're going to head on back into the Mantis then. There we go. So we have that on its way. I collect those. And we want to get straight back into work. Okay, so what's this looking for now? Erudition, right? Yeah. So let's slot that. This place merits closer investigation. Cater and Hero Limited. It's been abandoned since the explosion. When both the owners died, the machine stands silent. The building is a collapsing shell. Mr. Cater was known to display peculiar trinkets in his office. Perhaps some yet remain. Okay, so that would be somewhere to go, mainly to get items to use in rites and stuff. Okay, that's interesting to know. We're going to head to the club again. So get that going. Oh, we didn't need to because this was coming anyway. Some days are better than others. Sometimes the sky is nothing like a filthy sheet. Sometimes the river runs clear. White moths eddy through the hall. They perch on the brims of wine glasses and sip. The audience applauds. The woman on stage moves as if she has too many limbs. Moths crowd my arms, nestle against my shoulder. A little while, I'll step outside and look at the clear, cold stars. Assume I dreamt the whole thing. The smokes of the club are treacherous. Okay, so we pop you on. Actually, you shouldn't go there, because that's where the white door is going to go. Okay, so let's keep on searching through these then. Okay, gonna go for the orchard this time. Got a glimmering, it may come in handy, it may not. The Sunless Splendor, the hour who once ruled the manses, was known to walk in the orchard before his terrible division. Sometimes his remnants walk here still. Sometimes I see this chilly radiance of the Mescape through the trees, or the chillier radiance of the sun and rags. Were they to come upon me, it might be my end, but to see them in the distance is a gift of insight. Okay, so you can go sit there. We're going to head straight back in to the mantis again. Just can't get enough of it. Okay, what do we need here? Rarefied mind skill. We have that indeed. We shall provide it. Okay, everything's looking good on the stream. Long may it continue. My own heart pumps more strongly today. Another little bit of vitality for us. Always welcome. Okay, and we're back to working again. Come up to spare prowls elsewhere. Okay, you go sit up here. There, I guess. Okay. Got another restless there. So 2 of them could be an issue. Right, so where have we got this time? St. Agnes's Hospital. Okay. It's another nice place to start out with. Okay, what do we need now? Yeah, it looks like Forge is going to be what dominates here, because that's there. This is a puzzle with missing pieces. I might find these pieces in odd corners. Risk your health or use a prisoner. We're not going to use a prisoner, we're going to risk our health. Let's do that. Okay, we'll review. We'll read that definitely the next time. That's a couple of times we've had that now. We'll definitely read it the next time. Let's keep searching these guys out. And let's get back in here as well. Okay, good. Yeah. Right, it's time to have a sup of tea, because if I don't, I'm going to completely forget about it, and then I'm going to be annoyed. Well, not really annoyed, but not going to be happy when I have to drink it cold. I do that far too often. Okay. We're making progress, which is good. We're about to get our new lore here. Yeah, things are looking up. And I hope things are looking up for everyone out there as well. I hope you're doing well, having a good week. Or a good day at least. And if not, well, I hope things get better for you soon. The Congregation of St. Felix. We'll look into that in a minute. We don't want your restlessness, thank you. We'll try over here. Film ring, so we got that one recently. So we'll just skip by it because we kind of know what it's going to say because you read it so recently. Okay, now. Congregation of St. Felix of Shurin, a nonconformist enclave of a heterodox sect of a Calvinist offshoot, tucked away in an odd corner of the city. They belt out hymns with unsuitable gusto in a throat-scraping language that is very much not quite Latin. Okay, interesting. Grab that, and then you can go down here with the rest of them. And we'll search out another place. Good. And let's get back into the Mansus as well. There are arts in forge which may split even the sun. I subvert my lantern lord to forge. Okay, good. So you now get to move to... Are you in the right one? You're level 8, so you are... Okay, so you're actually in the right one there. So 8. So that means now that everyone... It should be possible to bump everyone up, right? So let's start doing that. Let's start getting everyone ready to go out and do the cult's work and not just sit in our little meeting room and talk about doing the cult's work. Let's actually get them ready to get out there. Get them all jazzed up and ready to go. Right, so study wise, there's not really anything we need to study at the minute, so we'll just kind of leave that as is. Okay, we get our work going again. Right, what have we got now? We keep getting restless there in the middle. Fencing errors, that's one that we can read. We haven't got that in a while. The hours have been called unmerciful, but they permit sleepers sometimes to walk in the orchard of lights, where each fruit glows like a sunset, where the roots of the trees are shaped for peaceful rest, where the mist soothes the heart. I was there last night. The taste of the fruit lingers, sharp and sweet, as the passage of spring to summer. So grab that. So you will become vitality at some point, so we put you there. And then get that going and head on back into the Mansus. Where we found this time? The Forsaken Reach. Along the grey banks of the rotting river, the warehouses wait. Perhaps I have identified one where an unusual cargo was stored. Perhaps. Okay, so put that there. And we'll search out another place. Get that going. Oh, we forgot about you. Despair is the wolf that devours thought. Yep, it could be really bad for us. Okay. See what we have here. I am destroyed. I am remade. Now I sear my skin, and by these marks shall I be known. I pledge myself to the flame. I shall not flinch from any remaking. Okay, so let's do the next one then. Just Clovette. Pop that there. And off we go. Now, something to look at as well is, now these guys are disciples, they're going to have slightly different techs as well. Valcine is not a machine. We are reasonably confident of that because she has been observed now and then to commit quite human errors. Tristan will do what is necessary to create. Sometimes one must first destroy. Laidlaw has learnt the clever use of fire and copper, wax and acid. Leo still yearns to preserve what is good and valuable, but he understands that to protect one's ideals, one must sometimes do questionable things. So maybe losing a little bit of his principles by the sound of it. Mirrors are calm, the sun is steady, the glow recedes. I'm sane, if that means anything. Let's pop that there. Yeah, so we need to get some contentment to counter this, because another dread would be potential game over for us, and we don't want that to happen. Well, let's see, we don't need you. We're going to try over here. Subtle fracture, okay. So we had a knock cult, just the way we do with our priest. That would be very handy because it is a level 6 knock influence, and it could be used in the rites to raise our disciples up another level as well. The ones who are at least of the same, well, it was knock, obviously that would be of a knock influence. This place mirrors closer investigation, the Forsaken Reach. Okay, collect that. So now we're doubling up on that. So maybe we've run out of places to find on these, or at least unique places to find. Okay, entering the white door. Last night in the great pavilion above the grey sprawls of the bounds, a woman who once called herself Theresa Galmier sat on gilt-fringed cushions and offered me a horn cup of dream wine. The wine is imaginary, she explained, but the cup is not. To navigate the Mansus, one must understand the distinction. Perhaps one day you'll join me on the pilgrimage, or I'll join you. So here, let us share a secret. And her breath tickled my ear. Okay, so you can go up there for now. Right, so let's see, how about we go there and then here. Descent is slow, winds from nowhere pluck at me, my skin is stained with light, the wood shivers with motion far below. Let's see how that works out for us. We might have to level up our temptation to be able to get it to work. I'm not too sure. But it's worth trying at least, isn't it? Okay, so Clovette. Next, get Dorothy in there. Get this started. Let's have a read of how Clovette is now. Clovette's optimism is daunting. She wields her joy like a hammer. Yeah, she's one of those people, I guess, who are just determined to be happy all the time. Nothing's going to put pay to that. Oh, we need to remember, here, I've got to go to the club. I can't be mucking about, because, again, if this one gets under despair, we are absolutely screwed. Okay, so this place merits closer investigation. Yeah, it looks like we've run out of unique places at that level at least. So we're going to head to the club to get ourselves some contentment and give ourselves a little bit of peace of mind. The dancer enters from stage left, swathed in red bandages, tight as tendons. She peels one away, another. So I'm not sure if we'll actually get some contentment out of that or not. The stage door, a ridge barrier of blood-streaked horn, huge enough for a ship to pass. It was broken long ago, and even now the scars are not quite healed. In a declivity beside the door rests a vast and wounded golden head. Its mouth would be large enough to swallow me, were its jaws not shattered. It is the name, Jerby. It begins to intone its riddle. Stage door's riddle. Okay. So now, we have the stage door's riddle. We're going to have to try and work it out. So what does it say? What may be lost? Answer this riddle to pass the stage door and be accounted a known. A no. Okay. What may be lost? Okay. You can lose a knife. You can lose your heart. You can lose a key. I'm not sure. Well, it needs to be 6th level, right? I think you should actually be over there. So let's try first of all with heart. Jerby has fallen very far. It may not enter the house, and one of its few satisfactions is to deny entry. It has too much honour to mock me, but I see the satisfaction in its golden eyes. This is not, it says with relish, the answer. Oh, okay. So it's not that one either. Okay, well, we're going to run it anyway because I think it might be knock, but we've only got one level of knock, so it's going to be a while before we can actually get up a level there then, if that is the case. Okay, so this must be a trick. One cannot remove garments so softly that the bones beneath the skin are visible. Bone pink as peach flesh, organs nestle like grapes, the lights dim, gutter, go out, and the stage red star with them. All our lips are dry. Okay, so that didn't quite work out the way we wanted it to. And I don't think, no, we didn't get any contentment to go there. Did get that one done though, so let's get on to the next person, which is Rose. Start that up. Okay, so let's see what Dorothy has to say. Dorothy's enthusiasm has become obsession. She will not cease, and how she loves to dance. Okay. So she's maybe going to be one of the big drivers of the cult. You didn't find anything, which is great. We're waiting for that to come around again, so we can use it there and deal with you. We hope, at least. Okay, you're ready again. Pop in there. That in there. We're going to get an affliction as well. So I'm going to have to keep the dream slot free for a little while to be able to take care of that once we're ready. Will this vitality last? Yeah, it will. So the vitality will be around to help us do that. Contentment has gone in there, which is good. Okay, let's pause for a second because there's a lot of things going on. Let's get you in there, And slot that as well. Get this started. Okay. Let's collect all of those. Keep that going there. Got some fascination as well. The lights go down very gradually as the performance ends. There is no applause. We each drift into the street alone with our dream. So you can go up there for the minute. No, I said you can. Oh no, not that. You can go up there. There we go. Right. So we're gonna have to go there again because there's one more there to be dealt with. Oh no, we got some contentment. It may not last though. We'll have to see. Put it there for now. So I think it's either it's probably the key, right? Losing a key would kind of make sense. Now, knock lore can subvert any other type of lore, so we may actually take advantage of that. So we need some erudition. So let's get ourselves some erudition then. Start you. Oh, we need to deal with you as well. So let's do that. No, we have vitality. Let's not use funds if we don't have to. There's only saving one, but that one could be at some point in the future actually useful. Then we're going to slot you, and that one can certainly be put in there to help us out there. The performance has hardly begun when a moan of terror arises from the audience. That's not good. And we didn't even need to do that because we had contentment sitting there as well. Oh well. It gives the detective something to do, I guess. And he will go hunting pretty soon now because he hasn't been hunting in a while. The performance ends immediately. The lights come up. We are ushered from our seats and urged into the streets. It's never clear what has happened, but the club's staff seem prepared as if this has happened before. Lights bloom in nearby windows, and passers-by gawp at the crowd of guests dispersing into the night. Okay. So yeah, we'll put that beside him because we're pretty sure he is going to find it anyway. Let's grab that. Let's then get on to the next person. Come on, let's get that going. Thank you. Let's see what we have here. Elridge is waiting patiently until it's time to knife someone again. That's beautiful. Very nice image. So you're going to be done. The next then, Dread, will come in here and sort you out. The words contain knowledge. Now contain it. It is a little like theft, a little like feasting, and a little like the progress of an infectious disease. Okay, well, whatever it's like, we've got that at least. Okay, so you and you. So that is going to become knock. So I think if we can get knock up to 6th level, like as in 6 strength, that would probably be enough for us. Okay, so dream wise, we'll just go back there then because we're waiting on upgrading our knock to be able to do anything with that. So we need to provide help there. Do that and runtime on. It's good. Dove Despair prowls elsewhere. Yep, he can prowl as long as he's elsewhere, that's fine. Right, so in the next minute, he's probably going to go searching, I would imagine. So we got that. And now we go for the next person in line. Okay, so let's have a look what Victor says. Victor has sharpened his cunning to a concentrated point. Okay, And someone's going to get stabbed with that concentrated point, I would imagine, pretty soon. Why do I keep missing that? Right, we'll grab this for the moment. Many of the dead enter the mantis through the white door. They wander its corridors in silence until they are lost. Some embrace each other, some devour each other, some force their way into the dreams of the living. A few record their memories on the mantis stone where it is soft. They scratch it with their nails, you see. Last night I read one of those memories. Okay, collect that. Now, what do we have to do next? Okay, back into the mantis at least. Start you and slot that. Mirrors are calm, the sun is steady, the glory recedes. I'm sane if that means anything. So you can go sit up there. You need this erudition, which we'll provide. And you can go sit up there as well. Okay, it's good. Right, so we're nicely working our way through the cult and getting everybody up to disciple level. And then we can start going on some expeditions, and that should get us enough lore to then be able to raise up these guys up to another level, which is going to be important because having 10 of something in one person makes things a little easier when you're out on higher level expeditions. Right, so grab that, then we move on to Rhaenyra. Start the process again. Okay, and then let's see what it says about Saliba. Saliba, a disciple. Saliba's pleasures are taken in a room without windows. His companions return to him again and again, even though each time they are a little less. Okay, so yeah, you kind of get that impression of Saliba that he's kind of long in the tooth. He's been around, been there, done that, and he's not afraid to kind of take from others as well to satisfy his own needs. And it sounds like that's what he's been doing there as well. But those people don't seem to mind that he's doing that. Let's grab this. So that will degrade into fascination at some point. But it's a nice one as well if you got a lantern cult, because it's 6. It's 6 strength, so it's nice for early level ups when you've got lantern as well, because you can use that in the rite that levels people up. Okay, let's see what we have here. Entering the white door, the invisible arts, Christopher Lopley is said to have remarked, are as profitable as macram, as ethical as tobacco smuggling, and in general as beneficial as roulette. Still, there is always the Orchard of Lights. And indeed, the orchard with its glowing fruit and its peaceful mists is a place to be yearned for. Last night I walked there in the peaceful hours of the deep night. Even after waking, I still carry with me a little of the glory of the old sun. Okay, so we'll sit that up there. Yeah, I'm sure he's going to find that notoriety before it goes. What do we need here now? Provide a glimmering or use a sanctuary. So we don't have a sanctuary, we don't have a glimmering. So what we'll do is we'll let it run down, and then we will generate a glimmering. It will remember that we used the erudition on it already. So we'll just need to put them back in again and provide the glimmering when it asks for it. So it's only a minor delay on that one. And I like that about the system, that it actually remembers how far you've advanced in either subverting or combining lores. Okay, and we're going to get back into the mantis again through the white door. We're banking on this being knock to get in there, Because just the fact that you can lose a key seems to be a reasonable deduction, at least. Right, so after that one, we got to save it. Save the dream for that to fix that up for ourselves. Okay, so Rhaenyra is done. We're going to have to go check her after we start Cat there. So what does Rhaenyra say now? Rhaenyra commands admiration wherever she goes. She reserves her attentions for those who merit admiration in return. So you can see she's another one who has been around the block and kind of knows what she's doing. And I'm sure that she's friends with Saliba, but she certainly wouldn't be one of those who is satisfying his desires and being diminished by it. Maybe now and again they will satisfy each other's desires, but it will be more of a mutual exchange, I feel. I don't think Rhaenyra would be one to bow down to anyone else. Not at this stage. Okay, so we got you there, so we're going to have to get some contentment. So the best thing to do would be to head to the club now and have that there ready. So we'll start that. Pause that for a second. We'll grab you out of there, and we need a glimmering, so let's pop passion in there and start that up so that we can get that there. We'll take that and slot it over there, and then we can run things on. Okay. Now, what have we got here? The drinks, the songs, the lights, the arching walls, the smoke blue haze, the press and sway of clothed and unclothed flesh. Okay, so we're going to get some contentment out of that. We're going to go, we'll take that fragment. Okay, is that one that we've read recently? It is, yeah. So we'll read that again, probably the next time we get it. And I purchased pleasure, a real home in the ungodly hours, and collapse into bed. Okay. So that can go sit up there until it's needed for the other one. Now this is interesting. We've only got 53 seconds left on the notoriety. So it's kind of around that time that I start hoping that he won't find it. Now the thing is, because we're not going on expeditions at the moment, it's not a problem if he does find it, because those 10 minutes will probably be spent finishing the rest of these guys off anyway. So it's not like it's going to be a threat to us or anything, but it's just kind of nice to feel like he got one over on him. Start that off. So you see how many disciples we have. It's getting to the point where we've got more disciples than believers as well, which is good. Cat is done now, so we're going to move on to Slee. Get him started, and then we'll check what it says about Cat. She still performs in the theatre sometimes. Cat Carroll, the posters say, finds a path. Cat Carroll knows the way. She certainly does. And she's been a good cult leader for us in the past as well, when I've had lantern cults. She's been pretty reliable. Okay, so we have a glimmering. So that means now that we can put these two back in. So once the glimmering is needed, we can slot it in there. Those will be combined. Then we can subvert the other heart as well, which would get us up to 6 knock. And then I believe that should be enough to get to the next stage of the or to open up this one here, the stage doors riddle. And of course we get a glimmering from the mantis, because why wouldn't we when we just studied to get one as well. I recall my dream. This was the lodge of blue silk flapping in the winds of the bounds at the mantis's edge, and here was its mistress, who welcomed me as she welcomes all travellers. Company is nice, she confided, but I still miss my Christopher. 10 years. 10 years and not enough. but we could not have been long together, not without touching each other. And you know what occurs when a man long lies with a long woman. Or perhaps you don't. I hope you don't. I won't tell you, just in case. I'll give you a tiny gift. And we get the glimmering as a tiny gift. Okay. So that can go there. Actually, you should come up here as well. Right. And then we'll slot that there. And yeah, we don't have vitality, so let's pay the funds to do it. And funds are not a problem now. We're at 113, so you know we can just keep on going with our work. But even when we start going on expeditions, it's not going to be a real issue for us. We're still going to be crawling up a little bit while we're on expeditions, unless it gets to be one of those ones where sometimes you get ones that require extra funds at the end, and that can kind of make you stagnate a little. But generally you're not going to be going on expeditions full time anyway, because there's going to be times when you're going to try and keep low and avoid him finding anything. I'm talking about that. The notoriety did actually go, so we managed to get one over on him, so that feels kind of good. Okay, next person's done. We'll grab that and we'll move on to, I believe that's Pope, right? Yeah, it is. So let's get Pope done. And we'll check what Slee has to say. Slee's headaches have become crippling, but his theories grow more practical by the day. His poetry's getting better too. Well, that's good, as long as his poetry's getting better. Okay, can pop you up there. So just how many more? 7 more to go? That's not bad. Got our health back as well, which is great. We're now going to be able to head on back into the Mantis. Oops. I always forget. Gotta press the start before you do anything. Before you slot that. There we go. Slot it in properly this time. Okay, we have our work there. Those two can go in together, which is good. Well, this is not board. One side is perfectly organized and the rest is not. Yeah, that's true. So every time I do my board, by the way, hi there, Couty. I'm just going to call you Couty for now. Yeah, so every time I play this game, I actually organize the board slightly differently each time. We actually missed where we were supposed to slot our glimmering as well. Are any of those? Yeah, that one's going to be around in time. So let's run it on. Yeah, so generally what I do is I just kind of go with the feel on any particular run of which way I'm going to organize my board. So if I won't run things on, I'll just kind of have a look. So before, what I used to do was I used to have certain sections where I would put things, and then the thing that I find was that these things would pop up and be in the way. So I kind of have decided at this stage that I will surrender the middle of the board to anything that pops up here, and that's fine. Then my lore I'm keeping over here together. So as we go on more expeditions, that's going to fill up a bit more. Then down here we have each of our stats. So we have our funds, we have our health, our passion, and our reason. Then we have any of the places that we can go are here. This will have to be reorganized later when we get to kind of higher tier stuff that we can go to as well. Over here then we have all the people. So we have the people we can do contracts for. We have all the people who are in our cult or could have been in our cult. We have our hangers on. And then down here we have our lore, or where our lore will go, and then any of the languages that we have. And then up here we have a mess of stuff. So here we have our rights that we don't use all that often. We've got our temptation, which we're not kind of moving. Oh, how far have we got in previous ones? I'll answer that in a second. So we've got our temptation here, which we're not working on yet. That's going to be later on. Then we have our cards that take us into the mantis are there. We might move those somewhere else when we get a few more. And then we have the kind of, well, really the temporary cards. So we've got fleeting memories, the fascination, dread will go up here, notoriety as well. The detective sits up here too. So kind of, these are cards which I don't interact with all that often. And that's why I kind of keep them there. And it's only really when we're going to start doing rights and stuff that I'll move those elsewhere. What I've seen most people actually organize people, tools, and lore together. The rest is different per person though. Yeah, so at the moment I don't have tools. So once we get tools will probably sit somewhere down here, or I might move these guys and sit them up here as well. So anything that is used in rights will be over here, and our books are going to be here. But once we kind of finish with books, I might actually swap those out. But I like having my lore here at the moment, just because it's kind of easier to see without having to, move the table up and down a bit. So for now, I kind of like the way it is, but I might change it later. I kind of change it up every time. But to answer your question about how far I've gotten before, I've gotten a number of victories, or number of endings at least. I've got the lantern. I got the lantern ending where it's your temptation that I've done before. I've got the forge. I got the forge cult ending as well. I've got the job ending once before, and I think I've got one or two other endings as well. So I have like this run here, which is stream only, which is pretty new. I've got plenty more on my YouTube then as well of other runs that I've done. And on my YouTube as well, I'm doing a run of the priest, which is kind of new to me. But that's kind of been enjoyable. And I'm not sure exactly how the priest ends, but I know it has something to do with the things like decrepitude and injuries and stuff like that you have to sacrifice at some point during that run. I've also played the Exile once, and I really didn't like that at all. I just couldn't. It's so different to the main game that I just found it wasn't enjoyable to play, because this game here, I really love the lore, and the way the base game for me is that you spend a lot of time exploring the lore, and then you have moments where there is some sort of a little bit of panic at least, and the panic kind of feels appropriate. So sometimes what might make me panic is maybe I've got like 3 dread that's already been put into the timer. It's counting down, and I need to get my contentment. I've gone to the club, and I'm not sure whether, like, when I'm slotting it, I'm not sure whether I'm going to actually get one that's going to give me contentment or not. Or sometimes you get one where you have maybe 2 dread slotted and 2 fascination slotted as well, and you're worried about one of those 2 coming along and just completely screwing you over. What have we got here then? Entering the white door. Last night in the billowing blue of the lodge of the sage knight, I sat on velvet cushions and watched 2 dead contend with shining swords. They came with the place, said the woman who rules here now, the one who once called herself Galmier. I was not the sage knight, if that's what you're wondering. He went higher in the manses, long before I came here. My attention has drifted. The swords sparkle like falling water. The dead move like dancers. Okay, so we now have 2 fascination, but that one's going to go soon, so it's not really a problem. Exile is definitely more gameplay focused than lore. There's still bits of lore in Exile though, even if the Exile himself knows absolutely nothing about said lore. That's true, there are little bits, but for me the main attraction of this game is the lore, and I actually came came by this game through Sunless Sea, because someone who watched my Sunless Sea playthrough recommended this game, given that I was so into the lore in that one, that this would maybe be one that I would enjoy as well. But the Exile feels as if this game has been flipped, whereas this one is, base game is lore heavy, and then you have those moments of feeling hunted, whereas the Exile feels like you are constantly hunted and you're looking for scraps of lore, and not really as enjoyable for me. Yeah, I did Sunless Sea. I played Sunless Sea on my channel for 3, maybe 4 years, just because it's such a relaxing game, and just was kind of sailing around and not really looking to end the game. And then someone who was watching me regularly suggested that I was actually very close to getting the Carnelian Exile ending, which is where you sail off each of the points of the map, like north, south, east, and west, and then do a few other things to get that particular ending. So I decided then that I would focus on getting the ending. So I got that, I think maybe 2 months ago, or maybe a month ago. I finished that one up as well. But yeah, I would have just kept on playing that game forever if someone hadn't noticed that, because it's just so good. I would recommend Sunless Skies too. Then make sure to go Beyond Albion before stopping playing though. Oh, Beyond the Reach before. Okay. Yeah, I was contemplating getting Sunless Skies as well, but what kind of put me off about that was I heard that the writers behind Sunless Skies and Sunless Sea are actually different. So I still might check it out. It's certainly there's always something there in the back of my mind that kind of says to me, yeah, you should definitely at least try the game out and decide for myself whether I'm gonna like it or not. I probably will like it, but I just don't want to be, I guess I don't want to be disappointed in comparing it to Sunless Sea and finding it wanting, but I'm definitely going to give it a try if you think it's worth spending the time. Let's see. Oh, that's the glimmering. That's lucky. We've got like 9 seconds left on our glimmering there. We almost messed it up. They are different. They still got lore stuff, but less, but still exists a lot. However, they also have more dry humor and stuff. Okay, so there is a kind of noticeable difference then between the writers. Okay. It won't have as much as Sunless Sea, but definitely has some alright. Okay, well, it sounds like it's at least worth checking out, so I'll definitely do that. But yeah, I play a lot of games on my YouTube channel. I play a lot of games that kind of fall into one or two categories. One is kind of lore or story heavy stuff, like Sunless Sea, Cultist Simulator. Recently, I played, what's the name of the game? Let me check. The Shrouded Isle. I did a playthrough of that. Actually, that's currently going up on my channel at the moment. I've also done the Innsmouth case, which is a choose your own adventure kind of based on Lovecraftian lore as well. This was pretty interesting to play through as well. And then the other side of things is I really like turn-based tactics games, so I play a lot of those. Things like Mordheim, Necromunda, Battle Brothers, Battletech, stuff like that. Okay, so make sure to go beyond the starting area of Reach though. It is the least like Sunless Sea, but the rest of the areas are POG. Okay. Yeah, so I'll definitely do that then. Generally, when I start playing a game, I like to play all the way through to the end. And one of the reasons for that is because there's there's been times where I found someone on YouTube who's played a game and I get really into the series and then they just stop out of nowhere because maybe the views for that particular series haven't been doing so well and they decide to switch to another game. But then I'm one of those people that likes to watch all the way to the end. So when I started my channel, I decided that for the majority of games, at least, like 95% of the games I play all the way to the conclusion of the game, or if the game doesn't have a conclusion, I will kind of set out what my goals are, and then once I reach those goals, then I'll end the series, rather than just kind of stopping out of nowhere and kind of leaving people in the lurch. I didn't like that with the way when other people did it. Okay, so many of the dead enter the mansions through the white door. They wander its corridors in silence until they are lost. Some embrace each other, some devour each other, some force their way into the dreams of the living. A few record their memories on the mansion stone, where it is soft. They scratch it with their nails, you see. Last night I read one of those memories. It's got another furtive truth. That's going to be good for us. We should probably actually finish searching that one and start on the next level of things as well. You got to go? Okay, well, thanks for stopping by, Cowty. It was nice chatting with you. Maybe I'll see you again in the future. Take care. Let's start that one off and run things on. Okay, so we need to head on back into the mantis, get our health in there. Okay, so another person done. Start that again. Pop you there and you there. There we go. Good. Okay, so let's see what Violet has to say. Violet is always very careful. Well, that's a good thing to be. Our Claire rarely speaks. She chooses her words with care. Even her movements have become economical. She is never seen to blink. Okay, that would be a bit off-putting, I would imagine. Right, let's grab that. And let's get ourselves back in there. Okay, work is going to be good. Better drink some of my tea as well. It's nice. Okay, so that's been combined now. When we open a thing, then we learn its nature. I've deepened my understanding of the lore that opens, which we call by its aspect knock. Okay, grab that. So now we can subvert this other one as well. It's probably going to take the same thing, erudition, an erudition, a glimmering, and then probably something else, one of the skills generally. So what we'll do is we'll prepare for that by getting ourselves an erudition, and then we'll study for a glimmering after that as well. And then we can put those in. And then once we have 6th level knock, we can try it with this to see if that is what is going to answer the riddle this time around. Okay, so we're going to get some contentment there, which is going to help us with that. Oh, that was the autosave, wasn't me pausing. Okay, so we got the Forsaken Reach again. So now let's start searching out this level. It may mean that we're going to have to do some reorganization of things. Let's see what we have here. The Lodge of the Night Sage, let's do that. It's a nice, decent one there. Last night I visited the Lodge of the Sage Knight. My hostess manifested as an elegant woman with fashionably short hair and dark glasses. No, she admits, I don't need them any more than I need eyes. Allow me my sentimentalities. But you've come for knowledge, I expect. Here is a story I heard in my Carisham days. You are welcome to it. Only remember me if you come to make the pilgrimage. So when you go to Carisham, there's an extra slot that you can get, I can't remember what it is that you put in there, but you can put something in there that's connected to what Galmier is telling you in that particular interaction. Right, so let's get back in again. Okay, so another person done. Only 4 more to go now. Oops. This is twice I've done that. Be more careful. There we go. Okay, so we've got our erudition. Now we're going to study for our glimmering. And watch us get a glimmering now from the mantis as well, just because we're looking for one. Let's pop that over there so we know where it is when we need it. Don't despair, prowls elsewhere. Okay, that's good. Now this place, okay, well we'll investigate it later, I guess. Let's check over this side now. Okay, we'll grab that. We'll read the next time we see that one. We'll read it again because we read that the last time we got it, I believe. Okay, let's get going there. Okay, so where do we find Gladwin Lake? Beneath the stark slopes of the fells, the mist-wreathed surface of the lake waits. There was a twin altar here before the Romans came, and a legend of a serpent who was sent to defile that altar. Okay, interesting. Okay, so he's on the lookout, but there's nothing for him to find. So we'll pop you here for now, but yeah, I'm gonna have to find a new place for those soonish, I think. Okay, another person done. Collect that. Get, that's Isabeth, right? Yeah, put Isabeth in there. Start that out. Porter goes unnoticed until he's ready. Okay, so that's a decent enough trait. Let's search this out as well. Okay, and we got our glimmering. So now we can get going with these two. So let's put you in, and then you as well. Start that up. Okay, keep our work going. Glimmering can go sit up there, so we don't lose it. Okay, let's check here. The hours have been called unmerciful, but they permit sleepers sometimes to walk in the orchard of lights, where each fruit glows like a sunset, where the roots of the trees are shaped for peaceful rest, where the mist soothes the heart. I was there last night, and the taste of the fruit lingers, sharp and sweet, as the passage of spring to summer. Okay, so that will become vitality, which you may need, depending on whether we get an affliction or not. Let's get Neville level up as well. Go, start that. Right, so you should be looking for erudition to start. You are. Let's pop that in there. The Forge of Days waits in my dreams. If I learn the Forge lore and I dream of this temptation, I can advance my purpose. The need gnaws at me. Well, it can gnaw away because we don't need it right now. Okay, so we got Lockwood Fen. The reeking murk of the Fenlands is ripe with furtive life. Taciturn locals still watch the sacred places of the small and secret gods, the ones that answer prayers. Okay, click that. We can put that over there until we're ready to go and check it out. Right, so back into the mantis we go. Put our health in there. We'll then search out another one of these as well. Okay, work is done. Funds is not going to be an issue, I don't think, for a long time now. We got 125. And again, if we keep working, even when we are funding expeditions, we're not going to see a drop off really in our funds. Some days are better than others. Sometimes the sky is nothing like a filthy sheet. Sometimes the river runs clear. Okay, so we've got some nice contentment there. You're looking for a glimmering now, right? Yeah. Okay, so let's slot that in there. I'm destroyed, I'm remade. Now I sear my skin by... Oh, we'll have to come back to reading that. I'm going to try here again. Okay. Oh, there's a favour from authority over there as well, but that's generally at this stage of the game is not that useful because you're generally not in too much trouble with the detective. Last night I walked in the orchard of lights. I plucked the fruit, which is always ripe, and consumed it in 2 bites. The taste is not to be forgotten. As I licked the glowing juices from my fingers, I saw a message carved in the bark of the tree. When I woke, I recorded that message, all I could remember, in my diary. Okay. So, let's head back in there, start that, and slot you. Okay, so we're reading this. I'm destroyed and remade, now I sear my skin, and with those marks shall I be known. I pledge myself to the flame. I shall not flinch from any remaking. Okay, and then last one is going to be Enid. Let's start that up. Okay, so we're going to get some vitality here as well, which could be good. What we've got there, Crosse Hill. The ancient tribes reserved this resting place for one who, by the end in service to a certain merciless hour, was more scar than man. They sealed the entrance with binding songs and mortared blood. Okay. So you can go sit over there. Okay, so we're going to need some dread or a fleeting memory for you, but generally they take care of themselves anyway. My own heart pumps more strongly today. Okay, let's put that there. Okay, and work is done. But work is never done. To keep it going on constant rotation. And we will search out another one of these. Okay, so let's see what it has to say. But Isabeth was just here just a moment ago. Just here. Almost certainly. Neville's gaze has grown furtive and his voice is sometimes shrill. He speaks freely of his dreams. I like that. That's just a little touch in the game, which I think is great. The fact that the higher in a cult they rise, the little subtle changes on the description. There we go. We got a glimmering. We were talking about it earlier that we'd probably get one, given that we were looking for one. The son of Splendor, the Hour, who once ruled the Mantis, was known to walk in the orchard before his terrible division. Sometimes his remnants walk here still. Sometimes I see the chilly radiance of the Menascate through the trees, or the chillier radiance of the sun and rags. Were they to come upon me, it might be my end, but to see them in the distance is a gift of insight. Okay, so we probably won't use that glimmering, but we'll leave it there anyway. Okay, and Enid is done. Enid sees what others do not. It is becoming difficult for her, but it is very useful. Right, so that is everyone then leveled up to disciple, and we have level 8 there. So let's see, you guys are 5. I think we need 21, right? So we'd need, yeah, we have 5, 8. That then does, I don't think that actually gives any. So we need another 8, or we need to raise this up a bit more and maybe get a temporary one from the Mansus to be able to raise them up enough. But for now, we'll run things on. We'll get back into the Mansus again. Pop our health in there. That dread is going to go to there, so it's not a problem. When we open a thing that we learn, then we learn its nature. I've deepened my understanding of the lore that opens, which we call by its aspect knock. Okay, so now we have 6th level knock. We're going to be able to try that with this stage door's riddle to see if this time it is actually the answer, because for this one the solution actually changes in terms of what lore you need from playthrough to playthrough. I don't know how many options there are, but there are at least 4, I think. And once this is done, we're going to start working our way through these as well. Okay, so you're going to be okay. You're going to generate some restlessness, but not really a problem. This place merits closer investigation. Kegel and Scratch. Here the Romans dug for silver until they reached the unsanctioned space where the names hid things not fit for sunlight. Many others have come since then, even as the tunnels crumble. Some have never left. Well, hopefully we're not going to be one of the ones, or some of the ones that never leave. We'll put you over here. Okay, now we're going to go on an expedition, so we're going to go here. Right, so we need a leader. So the leader is going to be Valcine. Then we're going to pick someone of a different lore type. So we're probably going to go with someone who has edge, just in case we get into a fight. So I know Rose has edge. Oh, no, let's not do that. We need to slot the place first. Okay, so slot you in there. Rose's edge, right? Yeah, Rose's edge. Let's provide the 2 funds that are necessary. Mr. Strathkine has forbidden entry to his library. Unfortunate. Let's see what we can do. Okay, let's start that. And then as we get on with it, we'll be able to kind of figure out a bit more what is actually needed. We've got pulsing airs there again. We read that recently, so we won't read it again. We'll do it the next time that we see it. So we're going to have another vitality stacked up over there as well, which is kind of nice. Let's now grab you from there. Slot that and start it up. Okay, grab those. Oops, didn't mean to move the table. Slot you up there, run it on. Okay, so we're going to have to deal with that as well when we get the chance. So that means we leave that for now. Wait, what do we have here? So it looks like we do have people to fight. Mortals, perhaps even ordinary mortals, but quite a number of them. They can be fought, seduced, or deceived. We generally like fighting, so let's send Elridge. Should be, yeah. He's edge as well, so let's send him. Our expedition plans for next challenge. It'll consume funds. I can add funds now, or I could send another follower. Yeah, so send another follower is generally I feel is better, because if you can, at least if you can figure out what kind of lore you're going to need for the next challenge, it generally works out better. Mirrors are calm, the sun is steady, the glory recedes. I'm saying if that means anything. Okay, run it on. I'm always tempted to keep this one going, but I always have to remember this, because if I don't do it the first time, then I generally put the affliction beside it, so it'll remind me the next time. But I'm always worried about forgetting about it completely and ending up with it being a case where we end up with decrepitude and then have to do the Forged Redemption to turn it around. We're going to send Victor. The Watchers will almost certainly regret standing against us. Yeah, let's run it on. So we've got 15 there. It should be enough. Kind of get unlucky if that's not enough. We could have also sent, because I'm not sure between 10 and 15 whether it actually increases the odds of you being successful or not. So we could have sent someone with a different type of lore for later on, but with this one, I think that is maybe the only obstacle we face in that particular one, because it's a lower level one. The illness has damaged my health. I need to rest before I'm fully recovered. Okay, so let's do that now. How long do you have left? No, we'll pay. We're not lacking funds, so we don't need to wait for that vitality to use it. Just would have been nice if we could have used it. Okay, now let's get working again. Okay. I think in a couple of minutes I'm probably going to take a short break just to make myself a fresh cup of tea. Because that one is definitely cold. Uh-oh. That's not good. We got the bad outcome there. Their wounds are grievous. Heal have fallen. Follow with talk. So Valcine got an injury. So we're going to have to fix her now. Let's pop her into talk. Start that. And then we provide the funds. So for those that don't know, when your follower gets an injury, it doesn't really do anything. But 3 injuries of the same type will kill them. But what can happen is that depending on what you're sending them to do, they get different types of injuries. So they can end up with more than 3 injuries just because the injuries are not of the same type. Or not all of the same type at least. Right, so we can now head back into the Mantis as well. Actually, we should have tried that with the knock one, but we'll do that next time. Okay, work is done. Slot those and get this started. Right, so what do we need here? The Watchers will almost certainly regret standing against us. Well, they didn't regret standing against us the first time. It's something we need to remember. Let's send someone with a bit of Grail. Not that it's going to matter. Because like 15 edge on this early one should have been enough. 10 edge should have been enough to give us the highest chance of success. So it was very unlucky for Valcine. She's back now. We can quickly have a look at her and you'll see where her injury is. There it is there. Aspect scar, old wound. Step closer to the sunset and see the first stars of night. 3 scars of the same type will kill a mortal. Yeah, so she's got 1 scar, but she, as I said, she can get scars of different types as well. So someone could potentially have, 5 or 6 scars and not actually be killed. But then you get other ones where the same thing happens to them, just from the same type of mission, and they end up with a ton of scars instead. Like, they end up with getting 3 scars of the same type and getting killed. Yeah, let's pop you there. We need to deal with that as well. We could get the opium and dream if we want to, or we can wait until this is done. Their blood pumps bright, then dark. They should not have proposed us. We move on. Okay, so that's basically that for this one. We'll send Kat along just because she is an experienced person, and she'll kind of fill in for Valtine, who got injured. Not in any kind of game mechanic way, just in our own head lore type of way, really. Okay, so we're going to grab that from there, because now we're doing expeditions. We're going to want more queued up for the future. Many of the dead enter the mantis through the white door. They wander its corridors in silence until they are lost. Some embrace each other, some devour each other, some force their way into the dreams of the living. A few record their memories on the mantis stone where it is soft. They scratch it with their nails. You see, last night I read one of those memories. Okay. So now, that's going to end soon, so I think we wait for it to end and then we go to the club. And therefore we can actually head back to the mantis without any real worries. Okay, good. So he's on the hunt now, and we're about to generate some notoriety too, so he may find it as soon as, if it gets generated now, he certainly will find it as soon as it's generated. So that will mean that we're going to have to kind of keep our nose clean for the 10 minutes that the tentative evidence will be around. Now, we could try and get rid of it with one of our followers. I think it's either Moth or Heart. I can't remember. One of them gets rid of notoriety, the other one gets rid of evidence. But I can never remember which is which. But I think at this early stage you can probably just wait him out if he gets it. Strathcoin's cosy sanctum, a fire smouldering in the great glass cases display hard-won trinkets. We must seize what we can quickly. Strathcoin may already have telephoned the police. Okay, so there's the notoriety that's going to appear. And yeah, he is going to find it. There is a small chance. Oh, wow. He actually didn't have time to get it. So that was great. But I was going to say that if he did find it, there is a small chance that he won't turn it into evidence. But we don't even have to worry about that. Hopefully he doesn't go then looking for the 5 minutes or so that it takes for it to disappear. Let's collect everything there. Okay, and then we'll kind of sort it out. So it means that we can actually go on another expedition as soon as this is gone. So it has 6 minutes to go. So we'll leave that up there beside him, just to remind us where it is. And we just need to keep our nose clean for about 6 minutes. Right, so what have we got here then? The Locksmith's Dreams, Stolen Reflections, the 4th volume of Theresa Galmier's expansive work. No longer a discussion of the dreams of artisans, but a valuable survey of other works. The tone is calmer than that of Trespasses, but occasionally fearful, even paranoid. This volume was published in 1926, but almost immediately recalled and pulped by the publisher at the request of the authority or the author, or possibly the authorities, depending which story you believe. A few copies survive. Okay, and that doesn't need to be translated, so we can go sit there. Then we have the next one. The Wainscot Histories, subtitled Stories from Behind the Walls, a miscellany of non-traditional histories compiled by William Gore, including battles not generally acknowledged in countries which appear on no map, told in a playful, apparently fictional manner. Okay, that can go sit there. The annotated dream journals of Christopher Lopley, sometimes called the only readable occultist. Literate, entertaining, bewildering. This is the third volume. Okay, that can go there. The Treatise of Underplaces. Herein, the 17th century mystic and antiquarian Claude Haussault describes the bounds, or underplaces, on the borders of dream. He warns that they shift over time. Okay, and again, doesn't need to be translated. And then the last one, the Journal of Alessandro Le Crosse. Prince Alessandro Le Crosse spent years in secret study of the tablets taken from the Fucine marshes in central Italy. His work will allow you to decipher Fucine texts. Okay, so that's good. And what we should probably do is actually study that. Yeah, study that to learn Fucine or Fucine. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a short break now and make myself a cup of tea. So I'll be back in a couple of minutes. Let me just switch us up there. Okay. Okay, so I'm back with a nice fresh cup of tea, which will hopefully see me through the last hour and a bit of the stream for today. So we're gonna run time on. So yeah, what I'm gonna do is wait until this is down to about 2 minutes or so, and then we can go on another expedition, because it will take at least 2 minutes to do an expedition. Let's go for this one. Okay, we got a glimmering. Okay, let's see what we have here. I recall my dream. This was the lodge of the blue silk, flapping in the winds of the bounds at the mansus's edge, and here was its mistress, who welcomed me as she welcomes all travellers. Company is nice, she confided, but I still miss my Christopher. 10 years. 10 years and not enough. But we could not have been long together, not without touching each other. And you know what occurs when a man long lies with a long woman. Or perhaps you don't. I hope you don't. I won't tell you, just in case. I will give you a tiny gift. Okay, so we get a nice glimmering from that. It's not something that we're probably going to use, but we can put it over here anyway. Okay, so next we have the Stag Doors Riddle. So we have now our lore here, Knock Lord, that's level 6. So we're going to try that. If it's not that, we're going to try some of our other lore that's level 6, because I do know that the Riddle does need lore of strength 6 or more. So there's no point in checking these ones, because it's definitely not going to be any of those. We'll check this one first, and then we'll start working our way up through the others to see if it's the one that it is. So that says this is not the answer, so it's not that one. So let's slot you instead. Ghibli has fallen very far. This is not the answer. Okay. Let's check you. This is not the answer. This is not the answer. Now, it could be lying to us as well. I guess it's a possibility. Oh, no name for your character. Names are one of the best parts. Yeah, I generally give my character a name once I've kind of determined what the goal is for it, or whether there's something that is connected to it that I feel kind of generates a name. So on my YouTube channel, I have a run for the priest, and the priest is called Father Ted because in Ireland, Father Ted was a famous priest from a comedy show. But here we don't really have anything yet in terms of what we're actually going for our ending. We're probably going to end up going for this here, the temptation. So we may name the person then in relation to someone who fell to temptation, possibly. But yeah, so welcome in, Fables and Fairies. I take with a name like that, you're really into lore heavy games, similar to me then. Right, so this riddle here. I'm just gonna try these and see if we can get an answer. Yes, a bit so. Ah, good. Yeah, I love lore heavy games, and I found this game through Sunless Sea because someone who watches my YouTube channel, and I played Sunless Sea for 3, maybe 4 years, and they recommended that I check this game out because they said if I like the lore in that game, I like the lore in this one as well. So, and I haven't been disappointed. I've really enjoyed this. I played through now a number of times, mostly on my YouTube channel. This one was like a fresh one that I started a couple of weeks ago on the stream. But I've done the Lantern Temptation ending. I've done the Forge Cult ending. I've done the work ending, which is pretty easy. And I've done a couple of other endings as well. And at the moment, I'm doing a priest run on YouTube, and then I'm doing this one here. When I've finished with the aspirant on here, if I can, I want to do the dancer, because I've never actually done a dancer run before. So I think that would be pretty nice to explore, and maybe people can give me some tips on that when we do switch over to dancer. So at the minute, we've got all of our people up to disciple level here. We've done an expedition which was fairly successful, although Valcine did get an injury out of it, which is kind of unlucky on your first time out, especially when we had enough edge to really take care of the people that stood in our way. Just kind of got unlucky with our rolls, I guess. Right, we're going to keep studying here, so that's going to be moth lore, I would imagine. Let's slot that again. Yeah, so far it's going pretty good. How about this? Would you have a suggestion for a name for someone who's going to go with this temptation? Because I've never done this temptation before. It occurs to me that I hold the key to power. So someone who, I guess, craves power, maybe. What would be a good name for that? If you got a suggestion, I'd be very grateful. Otherwise, I'll try and mull it over in my own head to see who'd be the kind of person for that. Okay, so what do we get here? I dreamt of opening doors, red doors and gold doors, and doors of glass, and doors bound like books, and railway carriage doors, and castle gates. Behind one was something I seek. I woke with the slamming of doors still in my ears. So we didn't solve the riddle. Okay. What may be lost? Could be Tantalus or Daedalus. Yeah, they're pretty. I think maybe Daedalus actually would be a decent enough one. Let me see. Let's get her name in here then. Let's put in Daedalus. It's pretty decent. Pop that in there. Yeah, I can see that. Okay, now this one is, don't know, I'm gonna yeah, I don't know what to do with this one, because I guess it's got to be one of these then, like the either winter or edge that we're going there. But how is that connected to what may be lost? I don't get it. I don't see where the connection is for that. Right, well, we got Daedalus as a name anyway. We got some restlessness out of that, which is not really a problem. We do have to dream this now, though. So let's do that. Let's pop that in there. And we don't have any vitality, so we'll pop that in instead. And do that. Okay, good. One you on. Okay. And check here. Okay, we got to get that going again. So let's do that. Start that up. Okay, now what we've got here. Read the volume of the Locksmith's Dream. Janus has, they say, not one face, but two. To which I reply, why only one? Why only two? Hersault and Costly, according to Thomas Love Denman, once agreed that Janus was all the gods and none. But later, Hersault insisted he was all the gods, and Costly favours simply none. Denman was a sinister dilettante, but this rings true of them both. Okay, collect that. Right, so we got some more lantern lore, which is great. We can put that up there, and that's actually 6th level as well, or 6 strength. I'll be there. Right, so maybe we'll check that one this time. Okay, so we've gotten 2 despair. Despair pads close at my heels. The world is leached of light. Okay, so we need some contentment to work with that as well. So let's get ourselves out to the club. We'll pay our fee. Okay, so what is tonight's entertainment? The backdrop for tonight's performance are painted with nightmare images out of Piranesi, vast impossible subterranean prisons. The dancers are monster masked, sudden as fire, each movement snapping with wicked intent. Okay, let's see if we can actually get some contentment out of that or not. Let's study the next book then. Gore does not mention the mantis directly, but constant coy, metaphorical references to ascending the staircase of years, to the doors of sleep, and to the blue light of dawn suggest he had commerce with the unseen world. Okay. We got our health back, which is good. Now let's try you this time. So start that and see what happens here. Okay, this is the answer then. There are many answers to this question, as the shredders of skin know. Here's mine. Okay, so that one will actually work, and we will open the stag door up for ourselves, which is going to be great. Okay, now the dancers pass beyond the backdrops, cross them, seem to move upon the staircases and drawbridges. Their bodies become smudged with backdrop paint. A growl arises from the audience, the wall of the houses. Okay, grab you, so we have glimmering, but we didn't get the contentment that we wanted, so we're going to have to head on back there as soon as it becomes available again. So let's do that, and head in there. Tonight the performers pass around among the audience, juggling knives or bottles of red glass, bending to bestow whispers or other gifts. All we need is some contentment. Okay, work is done. Get that going. Okay, so we're about to open the stag door for the mantis as well. A dancer pressed a red glass cup to my mouth. Its lip was sharp. My mouth is bleeding, but the wine within was a strong wine. Okay, so we got some vitality, which would have been nice a little while ago when we had that affliction. Now we're gonna we did get some contentment out of somewhere. Oh, it's probably got it in there as well. Probably got that and the contentment and the vitality together. It was common in that time to speak of the division of the sun, by which contemporaries understood the eruption of barbarian forces and of their uncouth gods. Okay, and we got out of that a furtive truth. Okay, well, we got plenty of those already. Okay, so let's see. Subtle rupture, that is knock, which would be great if we had a knock cult. But we're going to go for one of these two. Let's go for the scent of knives. Okay, we got a furtive air, which I believe is going to give us edge lore. At least temporary edge lore. Entering the stag door. Of the place my dreams took me last night, this has been written. The ascent is glass, the walls are knives, each step is blood. I did not climb far. The pain was too great. When I woke, that pain remained with me. A pain I could employ to occult purposes if I hurry. Okay, so what did we get here? We got the way through the stag door, and you are indeed 10th level, or 10 strong at least. Edge lore, but we're not going to need you, so we'll pop you up there. Our reason can go here, and then I'm going to head on back into here. In my dreams, I know the path to the stag door. Through the maze of the bounds, Jirby will let me pass, but the path is always a puzzle. I will need reason. So let's slot reason in there and run that on. Okay, now that is about to go away, so we can now head to a new place. Let's go for Forgotten Metrium. Put that in there. Now, who's going to go this time? So I think the leader is going to be Tristan. And then I think I'm going to send someone with winter lore, because I believe that's good if we get curses. So let's send Auclair. And then let's give them the required funds. I'm convinced that the Metrium still holds secrets that its discoverers never found. It's unlikely to be dangerous, but the search will require funds. Okay, if it's unlikely to be dangerous, then it doesn't make sense to send her. We need maybe someone like Kat that's going to have Lantern to reveal some sort of hidden place. Okay, so let's do that. And run it on. Okay, and let's get studying this next book as well. Alopli disquisitions on fire and the unburnt god are interrupted by passages of distractingly erotic poetry addressed to Baldomira. Okay, start that. Right, so what do we need here? Our expedition plans for next stage. Right. Hidden doors can be found with lantern or knock. Okay, so Slee should be lantern as well. Let's put that in there. That gives us a decent chance to find it. Our expedition... Oh, it won't tell me what the chances are until it gets to the next bit, I guess. Right, let's do that. And start that up again. We don't need to look at that, so we'll close that down. Restlessness can go sit up here. We do need to worry about you, though. So once that's done, we're probably going to go get some opium. That will help us to... Okay, we won't grab that. I want to see what... Let's go for the Painted River. Okay, well, that's a step up at least. Entering the stag door, there's a great chamber in the manses through which a painted river flows. The vagabond, it is claimed, painted it from memory in the years before she left the house. Certainly there are histories concealed in its design. I traced them with my hand last night. There were fragments of aquamarine, paint beneath my nails, flecks of gold leaf when I was done. Okay, grab those, so you can go sit up there and you can go over to there. Okay, so that's going to be a nice place for when we kind of get further on into the run. We're going to be able to get some really decent stuff out of there. Maybe things that will... the kind of stuff that we will need for a right if we're going to be ending the game with a right. Or maybe some lore that we haven't gotten before in terms of like higher level lore and stuff. Right, so let's go back through there again. We don't mind using our reason because we've got plenty of it. Run that on. And I'm going to have a sip of my tea. Okay, so we're going to have a chance to send somebody else now on the expedition. We'll almost certainly find this hidden door. So we could send Pope, which would give us more lantern, but I think it's probably best. Let's send out Claire, because we kind of, in our own head lore, not in the game mechanics, but we kind of promised her that she would go. So let's fulfill that promise and send her. Going to get some contentment there, which will help with that. That's good because we tried through the club to get rid of that and we couldn't. Some days are better than others. Sometimes the sky is nothing like a filthy sheet. Sometimes the river runs clear. Okay, accept that and run things on. Okay, and that was actually a nice exchange there, because we dealt with the despair, and now the fascination is getting dealt with from that as well. Both despair prowls elsewhere. Okay. So read this volume of Travelling at Night. To reach the Stag door, I believe that all you really need is to want something enough. But I've never wanted anything that much, except for, of course, Valdemira. And I'm very much afraid that the knot in the story is this. What Valdemira wants is the Stag door, but here's something I learnt in Persia. Perhaps it'll teach you what you want. Okay, so we got a forged secret there. So we can put that up there. Erudition will go over here. We probably won't use it, but again, it's just kind of nice to get. Pop you in there. We're going to get some Nock lore out of this, it looks like. Hersalt's treaty on underplaces. The walls of the mantis Hersalt begins are the size of starlight. Many of his directions are equally unhelpful, but common relationships do emerge. Okay, can run things on, and I'll have another sip of tea. Okay, got our work done. Right. So you're going to be Forge. Yeah, we're going to grab that because that's going to help us to... We can check at least to see how much we're going to get in total to be able to get Valcine and the others up a bit higher. Jirby was weeping again. I scooped up his molten tears in my cupped palm. In the dream, my skin peeled and blistered, but only in the dream. Okay, grab those. Okay, so we go to here. We can see, so we need 21. She's going to give us 5. That's going to be, so we're going to be short, right? Because that's going to be up to 13, and this will be up to 19. So we need 2 more to be able to level her up. But if we can do that, so that lantern there, if we use that to subvert this Mortlore here, then the lantern will become will move from 6 to 8. Then we can subvert it with this, which will move this from 8 to 10. And then if we get another one of these, we're going to be able to... Okay, so we're actually pretty close to where we want to be with that. So now what we need to do is work out what we're going to need for these. So first of all, that one is going to be erudition. And we're going to need something for you as well. That is going to be a glimmering. So we'll get a glimmering and some erudition when we're done with that. We can then combine those two, as you said, and then combine again. And we're then going to be able to get our guys up to the higher level, which is going to make it a bit easier when we go on things. When we go on expeditions. Faint lines in stone, a surface that yields to pressure. We found it. The hidden door moves with a grating shudder and a shower of dust. Okay, well, let's send someone else along. Let's send Porter along, just for him to get a little bit of experience for himself. Sure, he's going to enjoy being out, and he's going to have something to talk about with his friends as well. Oh, that's bad. He's basically gone looking at almost the perfect time to intercept this notoriety. It's going to be kind of touch and go whether he finds it or not. The last time he was like, he had like 2 seconds left when it appeared, but he didn't have enough time to actually find it. Mirza Khan, the sun is steady, the glory recedes. I'm saying if that means anything. So we put you up there. we'll pop that one up there as well, because we're not going to use it this time around. But we do know, we do have kind of a route to doing that as well. Oh, we almost screwed the pooch on our job. That would not have been good. And we can also go back into the mantis as well. So we need another reason for that. Get you going. A picturesque account of a journey through nightmare, interspersed with what might be partial rites. On the 18th ascent is the bud. On the 36th ascent is the blossom. Fables and fairies. Oh, cheers! Cheers to the follow. I really appreciate it. Okay, so let's grab that. So we got some more knock lore, so we're gonna pop that there. Okay, put you in there. Right, now let's see what we got here. The altar tilts back like a jaw. Behind it is the pyramid space where only the sun hunters and dawn givers might go, but others have been here too. Much more recently, they have left their treasures. Okay, so we're going to see what those treasures are. So the first is notoriety. I think he is going to find, yeah, he's got long enough left. He's gonna find the notoriety. Very fun to watch. It's a rare game, so it's nice to get ideas. That's true. I like watching people that play this kind of stuff as well, because you can get ideas on things. And one of the things that I like about the game is that there is a wiki for it, but the wiki is not necessarily obscure, but it's not a guide on how to beat the game, which I think is really great. It's just a guide on, these are the things in the game, this is what they're used for, and then lets you kind of figure out how to interpret that in terms of doing stuff for yourself as well. So it's kind of nice. And it was kind of it felt like, for me, it felt like a bit of achievement when I figured out how to do Forge's Redemption, which is where you take your decrepitude and you put it in the right and you turn it back into health. And I was able to kind of figure out how to do that. And that kind of felt like a bit of a mini victory for myself. And because of that, I actually made a video on how to make it, or how to do it yourself as well. So that was kind of interesting to do. It is a cool rite, yeah. And the only thing that I would say about the rites in the game is that I wish that the rites, as in these ones here, I wish that these were kind of more unique, because when you know yourself from playing the game, when you get these rites, some of them you can use for doing things like doing things like summons, and some of them you can use for going on towards maybe getting a victory or something like that. But none of them really feel like they are unique in themselves. And I think that's somewhere where it could have been, they might have been able to do that, where it would feel more special. Say, if we got right at the map's edge, it would feel more special because it's the only one that allows us to do a certain thing, maybe a certain summons or something like that. Instead of knowing that when we have all of the rights available, that, you know, a group of them all do the same thing and another group of them do another thing as well. Yes, that's fair. Okay, cheers for that. Yeah, I feel like it is, because there's so much more about this game that is so well done and so well written that it feels like kind of a little bit of an anomaly in terms of the way it was done. But let's have a look at these. So we've got Refulgin, a white so pure that it remains visible even in utter darkness. Okay. So this stuff, we need to find a place for this stuff now. And it's probably a good time to start reorganizing where things are kind of living on the board. So here, we're still going to have our books. What I probably should do is move these over to create some more space. Put you there, and you there. So in terms of books, let's say that we let the books have that much there. So maybe down to there. That means that this area here is kind of free. So in that area, we'll move our... Yeah, we move these down here. So all of our Mantis stuff can live down here. This is kind of for our temporary stuff that... Our rights are temporary stuff that we're not using constantly. But where will these go then? I guess what we could do is... This area here is not being used. So let's start putting them over here. We got refuel again. Then the next one is... oh, that's just the place. So you can go back over here. And... What's the next one then? Elagabalene Manacle. It does not relinquish its grip. Okay? It is... Oh, that's pretty good. An 8 strength winter. So you can go over here. So you're 8. So you're 4. You can go down there. Cracked Noonstone. Noon, the saying goes, is not what it was, but this stone still retains an embery glow. It has been cracked. A forge aspected follower could restore it with sufficient resources, or it could use up what power remains in it. Okay, so we'll keep that. At some stage we may repair it, depending on whether we need to or not. We did that. We did a similar thing with the... There's the cracked mirror as well that you can repair and then kind of repeatedly use in rights as well, which is pretty nice. So we'll probably do the same with that because it will change. It will change the use of the item as well. Okay, now, how long has our notoriety got left? It has... Oh, we only just finished, so it's got 5 minutes left, of course. Okay, so kind of reorganize it a little bit. The rights, at some stage, we're going to have to reorganize too, but not just yet, because we're not really into doing our rights at the moment. Okay, so that's not too bad. He didn't find a notoriety again, so we're kind of getting lucky with him. I'm safe for now. My adversary has not enough evidence to bring a case against me. They found no new clues. Okay, so he can go back there. So that notoriety will more than likely disappear before he finds it. So that's kind of a good thing for us. Now, study-wise, we were going to combine this and this, which means that we're going to have to study for first and erudition. We do have one there, but it's not going to be around long enough for us to actually combine anything before it disappears, so we'll do that. Okay, let's try this one. The Ascent of Knives is called the Sharp Stairs and the Mother of Mirrors and the Feast of the Grail. If one is to look beneath the stair, as I did last night in my dreams, one understands that last name. It draws a tithe of blood from the feet of those who ascend. Emposai, some shaped like men, many shaped like women, wait beneath the glass of the stairs to satisfy their hunger. I did not approach. I made no sound. I only observed. Okay. So the stag door, we'll just pop it back down here for now. Actually, we should switch these two around, because it just makes sense, because the white door is a higher level of the mantis. And we'll do that. And we put in our reason as well. And get that going. Okay, so if we're lucky, he's not going to find that. And when it's got about 2 minutes to go, we can go on another expedition as well. I'm always the last to leave, even after the Yellow Glover. Okay, that's good. So funds-wise, for this particular run, for Daedalus here, I don't think there's going to be any issue at all with funds at this stage. But it's just kind of nice to keep the rhythm going. And what you don't want really is to be doing a number of expeditions and feel like you're draining your funds. Because then it can kind of put you off. Even though you might have enough funds to do, you know, to do 50 or whatever number of expeditions. It's still kind of nice to feel as if you're keeping on top of things. Now, we are going to probably start reorganizing these as well. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to move that health over there. So this space here is free, and these are going to go over here. Okay, that's not a problem. It's just going to give us some restlessness there, and then these are the next levels, so they can go there. Okay, and then we're going to start searching up some more stuff. So let's not move the table and give ourselves motion sickness. Okay, you're a knock one. Fascination, not the best result. Sometimes though, there was one where, which one was it? Was it the, I'm trying to think. I think it was the Lantern Temptation, where you need fascination to level it up. And that would have been a great result for that one, because generating fascination is not really a consistent thing. You kind of got to get lucky with it. But generally, you're not looking to generate it anyway. I dreamt of the manses behind the white door, of the great space above the orchard, the space that overlooks the bounds, the space where the vagabond once painted her river. Painted ships passed upon the painted river. I met the painted eyes of a painted captain. She saluted, and the motion was like the layered movements of clouds. The sail of the ship was amber, and the captain's eyes the green of new barley, and the river aquamarine. Now that I'm awake, I see those colours still. Okay, so you and you can go sit up there. We're then going to finish that and pop that up there as well. Study-wise, that's done, so we'll take those. We'll put the erudition over here. We'll study for a glimmering. Get that going. And then we'll head straight back into the mantis again. And we need reason, right? Let's slot our reason there. Let's then search one of those and get that going. Okay. So we have just over 3 minutes left on that. So in about another minute, we're going to go on our next expedition. So let's get working going and then have a look at where our next expedition is going to be to. So that is empty now. So next is going to be Cater and Hero Limited. Okay. So that's going to be the next place that we head to. I can't remember what happens there, whether we get into a fight or not. So I'm going to probably send someone with Edge and someone else. Oh, and he's found the notoriety. Okay. So that means that we're going to have some tentative evidence from him. You've now gone to second level, right? So we then, when this is done, need to go to the club and just kind of keep it on top of that. We don't need this at the moment either, because we haven't increased our forge lore yet to take advantage of it. Let's go there instead. Forbidden Epic. There is a great chamber in the manses through which a painted river flows. The vagabond, it is claimed, painted it from memory in the years before she left the house. Certainly there are histories concealed in its design. I traced them with my hand last night. There were fragments of aquamarine paint beneath my nails, flecks of gold leaf when I was done. Okay, grab that, and yeah, so what we're going to do is let's go buy a tincture of opium. That's going to help us with this. In times of special crisis, I might visit a discreet pharmacist to purchase a tincture of opium and make my dreams sweet, but only in times of a special crisis. Okay, so let's do that. Then we've got you as well, so we have those two. We've got our erudition, our glimmering. Now it's time to slot these two. Oh, maybe the other way around, I think. There we go. Okay, yeah, so it's going to turn into lantern. Let's start that. So it's gonna, I think it asks for the erudition first and then the glimmering. This place merits closer investigation. So we're in on a crumbling cliff above a grey sea. The Gwr Inn squats until the day the sea comes for it. It receives few guests, fewer since the owner closes an notorious library to visiting scholars. Okay, that's another kind of little peeve I have with the game, and it's only a little one. Is that these ones here, when you read them, I wish that they just allowed you to, when you're done reading, click it out in the corner instead of doing that kind of thing where it auto closes, because everything else lets you read it, you know, as long as you want to, and it's not like the game needs to hurry up. It's a game where, for me at least, relax. I got my cup of tea here, which I'm going to take a sip of. And just kind of relax and immerse yourself in the world and in the lore. And therefore it doesn't really make sense to have things like that are kind of closing on their own. But it's only, as said, it's only a tiny little thing. And it kind of speaks to how good the game is and how well it's been done, that, you know, a tiny thing like that could be a peeve. I think like a lot of indie developers could learn from the developers of games like this, you know, ways and how to kind of draw the player in and create a world that's something that people want to come back to again and again. I think they've done a fantastic job of that. Oh, that deep piece, but I should not do this again. Well, we will do it again, but we just won't do it again immediately. But we'll do it again some point in the future, because there's always time for opium in this game. Okay, let's slot that in there. We'll get back to the Mantis. Yeah, he's going to get tentative evidence out of that. There is a small chance that he won't make anything out of it, but it is a small chance. Let's get working going again. We're going to, let's see, that has 59 seconds. So yeah, if we go to the club now, by the time it's done its round, we're going to hopefully have another, yeah, we will have another contentment to slot in there. The drinks, the songs, the lights, the arching walls, the smoke blue haze, the press and sway of clothed and unclothed flesh. So that's kind of just a standard one that you get there. So we will just get our contentment. Nothing strange is going to happen, because some crazy stuff can happen when you go to the club. I'm certain that my adversary has lodged a copy of their notes elsewhere, with their solicitor, with their supervisor, or even with a contact in the press. This is troubling. Okay, so we got that there. Now, the question is, do we want to try and get rid of that? Or not? I remember one time I won through the position at Glover on accident. Happened very suddenly and I was surprised. I did exactly the same thing. It's where you... So on this one here, if I put in my passion in there, it will then give me the option to retire from the game or retire from the cult and just go on living a happy life in my job. I did exactly the same thing, and it surprised the hell out of me too. It was just, I put it in, I thought, oh yeah, well, it's asking for something to go in there. I'm going to provide what it's asking for. I put it in, I let it go on. I didn't pay too much attention to it, and then suddenly, boom, the game is done. And I was, what? What happened? So since then, yeah, I always leave this empty, unless it's a case where I've let the job kind of slack for a while, and you have to go kind of groveling to get back up to the level where you get three funds per turn. I was hoping that I could turn the business into serving my cult. Yeah, I was thinking something similar to that, or just kind of out of greed, trying to get up to getting more funds per turn, or getting to the point where maybe you get to take over the company as you suggest, and maybe move your cult into its location and still generate money out of it. But yeah, it was a surprise. I purchase pleasure, I reel home in the ungodly hours and collapse into bed. Okay, so collect that. So we have some contentment there. We'll leave it up there. This should come and claim it now in a while because it will be still around. That's one thing with contentment, is that contentment doesn't hang around as long as a lot of the other stuff. So you kind of have to be careful sometimes about when you generate it, because you can't do like other things where you generate it and kind of stack it up, because it's going to degrade too quickly. Okay, so we need our erudition for there. Let's slot that in. And I think it's going to ask for a glimmering next, and then probably one of the skills. Maybe the rarefied mind. And then we get a glimmering. Of course you do. It's weird how often that happens, where you're doing something with combining or subverting, where you need to get a glimmering or you need to get an erudition, and then after you've gotten it, then another one turns up just randomly from elsewhere. Okay, let's go for the stairs this time. Of the place my dreams took me last night, this has been written. The ascent is glass, the walls are knives, each step is blood. I did not climb far, the pain was too great. When I woke, that pain remained with me, a pain I could employ to occult purposes, if I hurry. So we won't employ that. If we had an edge cult, it would be very nice to have, because then it would allow us to bumper people up to higher levels. But we don't have one, so we won't worry too much about it. Let's head on back into here now. Get that reason slotted again. Okay, so we're going to get some more contentment there as well, which is kind of nice, because... So this is what I was talking about here. So it's got 2.2 seconds left, and then it's going to start looking for another contentment. And this contentment here has only 7.4 seconds left. So if we had gotten that, generate that contentment just a little bit earlier, it would have actually been gone by the time this one was looking for it. But luckily we have another one here anyway to replace it. So it snags it just at the end. Some days are better than others. Sometimes the sky is nothing like a filthy sheet. Sometimes the river runs clear. Okay, so let's pop that up there. Let's grab those and get back to working again. So let me ask you a question then, Fables and Fairies. What has been the most satisfying end to the game that you've had so far? Okay, this should be looking for the glimmering. It is. So let's provide the older one in case the newer one maybe we'll be able to use something else. Probably not, but it's always nice to dream about those things. I think for me, it's probably has been the enlightenment one, where you do the light temptation, because it was so convoluted to do, where you had to get you had to do a certain summons, you had to have you had to find the mirror and fix it. You also had to generate prisoners at the right time. And that was kind of a struggle as well, trying to make sure there was prisoners there at the random times that it would look for them. And just being able to do that, because then there was a period where it was kind of going up and back for a bit. Unfortunately, I've yet to get a true win. I spent weeks getting to a board state with a ton of lore, and then went insane for impossibly bad luck. Oh, that happened to me as well a few times. Okay, we've got a nice lesson in there. Yeah, that's the kind of the part of the the risk in the game is that you do too much preparation and then the game catches up with you and catches you out and causes an ending. And that happened to me a lot when I started playing first as well. What I found is, what's worked for me is that generally what I do is I try to find all of the lore that I can before I start my cult. So what I'll do is I'll find the shop, Moorland shop, and I'll find the auction house before I start my cult, and then get as much lore from that as I can, and that kind of gives me an idea then of what type of cult I'm probably going to go for, because if there's some lore where I don't have any of or have very little of, I can rule those out as possibilities. And then I start using that lore to find all of the people. So I find all the people again before I start my cult. And then it's only when I've kind of done that I then switch over to starting the cult. But another thing I do before that is I work on my stats down here. So I make sure that I get these up to at least 4, if not 5, before the cult is started as well. So that kind of cuts down on the risk of getting some kind of game-ending thing, because what you're doing there is, because you don't have your cult, you're not going into the mantis, so you're not generating more fascination or dread or whatever than you can handle. And because you've been looking for the places, you probably found a club by that stage as well. So handling dread is not too difficult. You still can get caught out by it, but it means that you don't have to worry about that. And then you're not generating notoriety because you're not doing things linked with your cult that would generate that. So you put yourself in a nice position to, when you do start your cult, you have options for dealing with the threats that come against you, more than you do when you just try and start your cult early and aren't prepared for dealing with certain things. So I found that to be a good way. It's not a guarantee for winning, because this game you can go from everything is fine, and then like 5 minutes later, you're gone. You're like, maybe like one thing that happened to me before was I was trying to do the lantern one where, the ending that I did eventually get, where you do the temptation, which needs a lot of fascination. So I was trying to generate fascination, and I was doing that through, you can get some fascination when you get the streets one, which comes after you kind of found everything that you can by searching with your health. So I was doing that. I was also taking any one that I could from the mantis as well. And in the end, I actually ended up losing 2 fascination because I generated too much of it. And I got one of those ones where the dread and like these 2 here, so the despair and this one here for fascination, both come up at the same time. Both were on 2. And then I can't remember. It was either that I got another fascination and it went in and it killed me, or I was trying to, at that stage, I was trying to generate dread to negate the fascination, and then the dread went in and then it did for me. One or the other happened, but yeah, I can see how that can happen to you, is that the game can just turn in 5 minutes. You think everything's fine, and then boom, no, run over, start again. But the great thing about it is that the game is so enjoyable that starting over is not a chore the way it may feel in other ones. So how about for you? Dread, funds, and fascination all hit at exactly the same time. Yep, that's it. The funds one is difficult, especially with when I started my priest run. The funds was pretty difficult, but I'll talk about that in a second. Let's read this one here. The painted river runs from a great chamber near the white door, far through the mantis to its far edge, where it enters a painted delta or far cloud. I voyaged half its length last night, with a stern-faced captain, beneath a rust-red sail. As the clouds rose before us, the sailors raised a yearning shanty and close-hauled the sails to best use the painted wind. And all the while the captain and I discoursed on the secrets of the House of the Sun. Okay, I'm going to take another sip of my tea. Okay, that's good. Yeah, so let's talk about, yeah, the funds. Funds at the start can be very difficult. It can be really tough to get to a point where you're generating more funds than you're spending, especially when you want to build up your lore and you want to do your auctions and you want to go to the shops as well. So that can be kind of difficult. Oh, I see we're having some difficulty with our... Yeah, we're having... Okay, so I'm back. I changed some settings. Hopefully we're not losing frames anymore. We'll see how things go. Okay, so we're going to go through the way to Stag door again. So where was... Oh, we need to start our reason. I was wondering, where is it? But it's actually right there. It's already in the thing. Okay, run that on. Tentative evidence has, what, 8 minutes left on it? Okay, so that's a while to go. So we may decide... No, I think we're just going to let it run down because we're not in a rush, really, to go on another expedition. It would be nice to get another one done this evening before we end the stream, but it's not imperative that we do so. It's kind of just a chill stream, having a chat and playing the game, not really forcing things too much. Right, so let's run on the time. Right, what are we going to need here? So we need library or rarefied mind skill. Okay, so we guessed right on that. So we're going to do that. Okay, so we're going to get that lore, and then the next thing then to do is to subvert that with our forge lore, and then that's going to give us enough to raise 2 of our people up to a higher level within our cult, which would be nice. Okay, so how are we doing here? We're getting less drop frames, which is good. I'd rather be getting no drop frames, though. Let's grab that one from there. Last night, Jirby was talkative. He spoke in his siege engine voice of the histories he'd overheard in the waking world. I listened until his stories trailed off again into weeping. Okay, grab those. And then we can immediately go straight back in. So if we look over here, we got plenty of stuff lined up there. That should be enough to... So these ones are going to give us the green level here. This is going to give us the next level up, and that's going to give us the next level up again. So that's going to be pretty... Like by the time we get to these ones, they're going to be pretty challenging. So we are going to want to have the... like these guys leveled up to give us a bit of an edge on things like that. Okay, so you're done. We can pop that up there and run things on. Your resolution's gone very funky. You're squishy, squish skinny. Let me have a look and see. So I think what's happening is my stream is dropping frames. So let me see what's going on there. Oh, I see what you mean. Why is it doing that, I wonder? Okay, what I'm going to do is I'm going to stop it and start it again then. because you can't be dealing with that. It looks so funky. Okay, let me pause the game for a second. Yeah, let me channel to see if it squished us again. Okay, we're not squished anymore. Great. Yay. Okay, so back to the game. Work is done. We're going to grab that. We're then going to go straight back to work. See, one of the things I guess I'll talk about in a second when people come back in. Right, let's grab that. Yeah. Let's give people a minute to get back onto the stream. Okay, now, so we're going to subvert that one with that one. So we need an erudition for you, and I think you need erudition as well, right? Yeah, okay. So what I'm going to do is, just in case, I'm going to get ourselves an erudition and a glimmering. I don't think we're going to need the glimmering. We will see. Run that on. Okay, and we're going to grab that one. Okay, let's see what it has to say to us then. Yeah, I don't know why this stream goes like that. Like, I know my PC is a bit older, but it's weird how it goes from being absolutely fine to then dropping like almost all the frames. Especially in a game like this, which doesn't, like, it's not taxing on my computer or anything like that. So, but hopefully for the last kind of 15 minutes or so that we have here of the stream, it's going to be fine. Let's have a read of what we have here. I visited the Ascent of Knives last night, that harshest of roads through the house. It has been sacred to the Menascate and the Sun and Rags since the intercalate, when the true sun was divided. When I woke, my room was freezing. The chill of it had cracked the window glass. That is pretty chilly. Okay, let's get that in there again. We'll grab a reason. It's going to have to be one of these, because the others are all exhausted at the moment. This has another, what, almost 6 minutes left on it. We don't worry about that. We'll pop both of those up there. Okay, so yeah, we're working on these two here. There was something I was going to talk about, and it's completely gone out of my mind now. For this particular one here. But yeah, we'll subvert the lantern with that, which will give us 10. That 10 then combined with a one of the temporary ones that we can get from the Mantis will combine with the 5 that these guys have as well, which will be 21. That'll be enough then to raise these two up and just give us a bit of an edge when we need them on expeditions. And then also they're going to be great then for using in this is almost certainly going to have some kind of rite related to it that is at the end, that is going to need a certain amount of forge lore, and having your people up at a higher level for them to participate in that and provide a big boost to the lore is going to be great. Because generally I think the ending ones generally take 36 lore, which you get from, or I generally get from 10 from my person. I get these up to 14, so 14 from these, and then 10 or 12, sorry, from an object like one of these kind of objects, a tool that you can put in as well. Okay, so let's grab that. We're then going to go put in the passion and get a glimmering. I don't think we're going to need a glimmering for these, but I don't just start it and go all the way around and realize that we needed it and we didn't get it. I wish I could have you on when I stream this, but I do Friday nights when you are probably fast asleep. Time zones. I see. When do you stream? Like, what time zone are you in? So we got Trembling Heart. So that's the one that we would get if we were leveling the guys up, but we won't get that just yet. So we're going to check this one. Grab that there. Entering the Stag door, the Ascent of the Knives is called the Sharp Stair and the Mother of Mirrors and the Feast of the Grail. If one is to look beneath the stair, as I did last night in my dreams, one understands that last name. It draws a tide of blood from the feet of those who ascend. Imposi, some shaped like men, many shaped like women, wait beneath the glass of the stairs to satisfy their hunger. I did not approach. I made no sound. I only observed. Okay, so you can go back in there. Slot that reason. That one can go up there. This erudition can go over here. We now have 2, which is nice. 8 p.m. USA Central on Fridays. Okay, yeah, so that would be what? That'd be like 2 a.m. in the morning here, I think. Yeah, I would definitely probably fast asleep. Sometimes I get up. Sometimes I get up pretty early in the morning, but that would be for doing D&D. So I am the DM for my D&D group. Up until September last year, I lived in Japan, and they are currently 8 hours ahead of Ireland. And we generally play kind of early afternoon over there. So it is generally we're starting at maybe 5:30. Before our clocks went forward, it was 4:30 here that we're starting. And then we have one guy as well who is currently in Florida. So that time kind of he has to get up, or he has to stay up, or either stay up or get up at midnight to play then. But it's kind of nice that we can still all play together as well. We kind of do it once a month. So, and this Sunday coming is our next one as well. So I'm looking forward to that. Got some nice stuff planned for the guys. Right, so we're going to first of all get our job going again, I think. Let's do that. There's actually the pun origin for my name here. Oh, likewise, I run a lot of the... I see, okay. So F and F like D&D. Very nice. Good pun. Oh, you're a DM as well then. Yeah, I started out as a player in my group. And a pretty new player as well. Up until a few years ago. But I picked it up pretty quickly, and when we have like 2 other DMs in the group, and when they kind of needed to take a break, then I took over. First of all, I took over in the middle of a session because one of the guys at the time was temporarily in Canada for a year and his internet crapped out on him, so he just said, "Oh, why don't you take over for the rest of the run?" So in the middle of the session, I got to do my first DMing, which is a bit daunting, but also was it was actually a good way for me to do it because I didn't have to worry about it beforehand. So that was kind of nice. But also, so I did that. Then he came back and he did it for another maybe 6 months or so, and then I did one where I decided he said he needed a bit of a break because dialing in and being the DM was difficult for him, and I was still in Japan at the time, so I took over DMing the group for I did a 4-month campaign, which was set on an island, so I knew that it had kind of a kind of fast ending time in terms of D&D at least. And then after that, then he came back and went back to Roll Campaign for a while, but then again, he was back in Japan by then, but he was kind of not feeling doing the DM stuff, so then I took over from, I think, October or November last year, and I've been DMing for the group since then. Right, so we now need to put these in, so that and no, other way around. That one and then the one that you want to subvert it with. There we go. So we're going to end up with, so anybody who doesn't know, down here we can see that we're going to end up with this particular lore. So it's, I think it's always the one on this side, I believe. So that's going to ask, at least for the erudition, it probably won't ask for the glimmering, but it's not a bad idea to have that there just in case. We don't need that. We're going to go for you. Fascination, not great, but we'll take it anyway. I dreamt of the manses behind the white door of the great space above the orchard, the space that overlooks the bounds, the space where the vagabond once painted her river. Painted ships passed upon the painted river. I met the painted eyes of a painted captain. She saluted, and the motion was like the layered movement of clouds. The sail of the ship was amber, and the captain's eyes the green of new barley, and the river aquamarine. Now that I'm awake, I see those colours still. Okay, cool. Grab that. Fascination goes sit up there. Hopefully it's not going to end our run. We need to deal with that now. So let's let that run out and then go to the club to do that. Yeah, so probably what I'll do, Fables and Fairies, is I'll probably follow your Twitch, and then I take it is on Twitch that you stream. I'll follow your Twitch, and then there may be sometimes, because there's sometimes where I can't sleep properly and I end up actually being awake at that time, especially on the weekends. So what I might do then is follow, and now and then I might actually drop into your stream. Let's put that up there. Because sometimes what happens to me is actually, I watch a lot of streams as well myself, and I will, let's see, let's get this going again. So what I'll do is, I'll be watching a stream, and then I'll start falling asleep in the middle of it, and so it might be like 10 p.m. or so when I fall asleep, because I generally sleep pretty early, and then I'll wake up at like 2 in the morning, and they'll have done, like, they'll have rated someone who's rated someone who's rated someone, and then I'm looking at the thing going, how the hell did I end up in this stream? But then I'll watch for a while, and if the person is good, I'll give them a follow, because it's like, I'm only starting out streaming. Like, I've done YouTube for 5 years, so talking and playing games is not a problem for me, but it's just with streaming, you've got to kind of build it up slowly over time. So like, I've been doing this my like fourth week of doing it, and yeah, so I kind of understand where, you know, if I'm watching someone who's pretty decent and only has a few followers, I'll always throw them a follow, because I know I will come back to the stream at some stage. Probably won't go to every one of their streams that they put on, but at the same time, I know what it's like when you get that little adrenaline rush when someone actually looks at your stuff and thinks, this guy's good enough for me to follow. That's kind of a nice thing to get. And I think some people maybe forget that it can mean a lot to someone. So I like to do it when I can. But let's get back to work here. You started basically right when I did. Ah, so you started streaming a few weeks ago. Okay, interesting. Did you do anything before that? Like, did you do YouTube videos or anything like that? Because I found YouTube videos have really helped me out in terms of making content. As I said, I've been doing it for a number of years. We've got Carsham here. Let's read about that. Drive through the downs to the coast where the grey-green land meets Atlantic grey. Search along the road for signs to Carsham town. You will rarely find it, even if you have visited before. And its inhabitants guard their secrets with curse and cudgel and fast-bolted door. Okay. So Carsham is where Galmier told us that if we ever visit there, that there is another thing that we can do. I'm not sure exactly what it is. I just know that when you do an expedition to there, there's another thing. There's another place where you can put something, but I don't know what it is that you put in there. Nah, this is my first foray into public content creation. I DM professionally, but that's private, of course. Okay. Well, DMing at least is a decent kind of, like, a lot of skills kind of will transfer over, because the thing that people will find when they are starting out on streaming or YouTube or wherever it is that having to keep up that constant conversation, especially with YouTube where you're sat in a room and you're just talking to nobody. But if you've done some DMing, you're kind of used to describing things and giving flavor to things as well. So it's probably not as difficult for you to do it, but it still is. So the best advice I got, and I got this advice from two people. One was from Morjax, who is a YouTuber, and the other one was from Game Night, who's also a YouTuber, and both of them I used to watch. And when I started my, like, making Let's Plays, both of them gave me the same advice, kind of in different words. But what they said was, the thing about doing YouTube or any kind of content creation is that it's like anything else. It takes time. You got to practice it, and you're not going to be like started and be amazing when you start. What you need to do is you need to practice, and you need to make lots of videos, or you need to do lots of streams, and you're going to get better over time. It's going to take a while, and it might be a case where you do it for a certain while and you kind of get comfortable with doing it. And then once you're comfortable with certain aspects of it, you can then look at other aspects and see where you can improve. But the thing about it is that a lot of people, what they do is they start and they think, I'm going to make a channel, whether it be on Twitch or on YouTube, and they think, I'm going to make a channel, and within a month, I'm going to have 100 subscribers or 1,000 subscribers or 10,000 subscribers or whatever. And then they do that with those expectations. They make their first few videos. Generally on the channel, your first few videos will get some traffic because it's something new. The algorithm might push it a bit. People will come in, look at it, and just make a decision. And then what will happen is you'll get probably no growth from that after a while. So then your first month, you get to the end of that, and maybe you have 20 subscribers if you're lucky, and your videos are getting maybe a couple of views, or sometimes they're getting no views, and that's normal. But what will happen is people will quit after that first couple of months and think, it didn't work out, I'm going to quit, it's not for me. But a lot of people who make it are the people who stick with it and spend the time to actually get better and get good at it. And that would be the advice that I would give to anyone who's starting out on content creation, is that what you got to do is I pass on again a tip that I got from others. You've got to do it long enough to actually get good at it. And it's any kind of skill. If you're learning an instrument, or you're learning a language, or you're starting a new job, you're not good at it the first day. You've got to put in that practice to actually do it. And that's kind of, if I was to give any advice to anyone who's starting out, that would be the best advice I could give. But we're here working on this. So he's going to grab the tent of evidence. It's got, 3 minutes left? That's just hit level 2. Okay. So what we can do with that is, probably when this is done, we're going to just get a Tincture of Opium to keep a lid on that. And then we can go to the club as well at some point too. Let's go for the Painted River. Okay, not bad. There's a great chamber in the mantis through which a painted river flows. The vagabond, it is claimed, painted it from memory in the years before she left the house. Certainly there are histories concealed in its design. I traced them with my hand last night. There were fragments of aquamarine paint beneath my nails. Flecks of gold leaf were when I was done. Okay, so we got that. Okay, so let's do that there. Now, you should be looking for the erudition. You are. So we'll provide the erudition. I think once this is done, we're probably going to end the stream, and then we'll find someone to raid. Okay, so let's get back into... Oh, I shouldn't have done that, because I said to myself that what I was going to do was I was going to get the Tincture of Opium and get some contentment, but I guess we'll have to go to the club instead for that. There it is. Is that it? Well, I think it's going to ask for something else. It's probably going to ask for the rarefied mind skill for something that high. Okay, let's grab that. And then let's get back in there again. Start you off. Okay, that's good. Okay, run things on. Okay, so this is very scary now, because this could be run ending here. We got 3 dread there. We've got to find a way to generate some contentment fairly quickly. So we got Kersham there again. So the first chance is to go to the club. Let's start that. So we're going to get fascination instead. So sometimes you get fascination and the contentment, but we'll see what happens with this one. And then we're going to have here as well. We're going to have at least one go at getting the opium as well. But it's kind of a nice finish to the stream where it's possible that our whole run is going to end. I'm safe for now. My adversary has not enough evidence to bring a case against me, and I found no new clues. Okay, so in a little while we're actually going to go, probably the start of the next stream, we're going to go on a new... So we did get contentment there, so this is no longer an issue, at least for the moment. The lights go down very gradually as the performance ends. There is no applause. We each drift into the street, alone with our dream. Okay, so we'll pop you up there. Now, this is a scenario which can end a run. So we have 3 in there. It's going to take the contentment, so that's going to bring it down to 2. So it's not an immediate threat to us losing the run. But we're going to have 2 in there, and we have 2 fascination. So if these fascination get captured, then suddenly we are in a bit of a pickle, because we've either got to get rid of this one very quickly to then allow it to generate a fleeting memory, which would then help with the fascination, or we've got to somehow generate some dread that isn't picked up by this, which would mean having some contentment sitting there to intercept it. So it could be like with 3 here, this could have, like, when this gets to here, it's going to turn red. But it will take this, so we'll be okay. But if we hadn't got that just now, we could have been in a position where it would end our run. So that needs the rarefied mind, so we'll put that in there and run things on. Okay, we don't need that, so we'll go for you. Don't need that either, but we'll have a read of this anyway. Of the place my dreams took me last night, this has been written. The ascent is glass, the walls are knives, each step is blood. I did not climb far, the pain was too great. When I woke, that pain remained with me, a pain I could employ to occult purposes, if I hurry. So again, we're not going to employ it to occult purposes, because we're not really doing anything with Edge in this run. Edge was one of the lores that we thought about maybe basing a cult around, because I haven't done an Edge cult before. But we kind of once we decided that we're probably going to go with the victory where we do this temptation, having a Forge cult just made sense. Okay, so you saw there, just for a second it turned red, but then as soon as it got that, it turned back. So we're okay. This now is not going to be an issue. We just have to remember to slot it there. So what we'll do is we'll get a Tincture of Opium from that, and that's going to be good timing for it to get captured by this. Then once that's done, we'll slot that in there to make sure that we don't forget to take care of it. So what I never like to do is I never like to end a run or a session where I've got an affliction. I've got an affliction that hasn't been put into the dream slot, because that's a very easy way for you to end up with decrepitude, because what's going to happen is going to come in again, going to forget that we actually have it, going to run things on, and then it's only going to be when it changes that I realize that we were supposed to do it. Okay, so we need to risk our health or use a prisoner. So we don't have any prisoners. We're going to put in our health there. So this could be interesting now, because we're getting an affliction from this, and we may get an injury from this as well. So it could be a case where we've got to deal with two threats to our health, one after the other. So we've got some contentment there, and it's got long enough that it's going to get captured by that, so that's good. So we went from, luckily we're going to go from almost run ending to having this pretty much under control, back down to 1 in a pretty short space of time. And if we remember, when we start the next stream, what we'll probably do is go to the club to start, and then take care of that. So there is our affliction. We're going to put it in there straight away. We're going to put that in there as well. So that's going to be dealt with. Then we're going to check to see if this one here actually becomes an injury or not. Generally it doesn't. Sometimes you get unlucky with it, but generally it doesn't. So once we find out what's happening with that, if it turns out to be an injury, we're going to wait and deal with it. If it's fine, we're probably just going to find someone to raid then. Okay, so let's put that there and that there. Let's start that off. And that's about to go as well, so we're going to be A-okay to do a new expedition next time as well, so that's going to be great. We're going to be able to probably next time get through a lot of these ones over here, which means that we're going to have plenty of lore to play around with as well. There are arts and forge which may split even the sun. I subverted my lantern lore to forge. Okay, that's good, so that's fine. Now this is level 10, so we have level 10 here. These guys who are forged themselves have 5, so that means that that's 15. And then the temporary one that you get from the stag door is a 6, so that is the 21 that you need to raise those guys up to the next level. So that's something that we're going to work on next time as well. It's going to give us a little bit of an edge for when they are leading our expeditions as well in the future. But for now, what I'm going to do is that's going to be the end of the stream. I'm really grateful for anyone who's stopped by, either lurking or who's chatting. I really enjoyed chatting with everyone who chatted today as well. It's great when people do that. It really is encouraging for, you know, just to have that little bit of interaction with people as well. But what we're going to do is I'm going to be back next Monday again with Cultist Simulator. Generally I stream at 6 BST. until about this time, about 9, so about for 3 hours. Now, let's see who... Okay, so we're not going to raid someone who's doing Cultist Simulator. We're going to raid Wands. So it's Wands and only. The guy's playing the Long Dark, but he's a really good streamer. And if you haven't followed him, I would suggest that when you get in there, give him a follow, because he's a nice guy and he's very entertaining as well. So let's start that raid and say hi to him.
So maybe there's boiled water in it, maybe not. I'm gonna try that. It's kind of tough. So if you're picturing, so you know how you're looking at the craft table lengthwise and then you're facing outside, the snow shelter will be at an angle with the door facing the craft table, but kind of half out of the shed. So like the butt end of the snow shelter will be actually outside. So you got to be careful with wolves, because they might interact with you if you're not careful. Just FYI. Is it warm back here still? Feels like 2 degrees.